Coming up on the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show today, it's our 100th episode. We'll be talking about what to do with your excess pears and apples and how to keep your tomatoes or get them to ripen before frost.
And then we have guest Rayna Andrews. She is an author and a food ambassador.
Plus your garden questions and a little history about our show. All that starts right now. Welcome to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show. So glad you've taken time out of your day to join us on the program. Whether you're listening in Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Southeast Michigan, around the country, around the world, via the simple radio app, the TuneIn app, or through the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show underneath the radio tab via podcast replay or in-studio video replay. Thank you so much for taking time and allowing us to be part of your day. You can. I am your host, Joy Baird. Beside me is my wife, co-host, best friend, and gardening partner,
Holly Baird.
You can find all of our content at that website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, where there's over 1,500 garden videos now, short and long format of in-garden and in-radio studio content for your entertainment and educational purposes. You can contact us anytime during the show, but first, the executive sponsor of the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show is Power Planter.
Planting conditions are always favorable with the Power Planter Earth Auger. No matter what the job is, Power Planter has the right size for you. Simply attach to a drill and let the Power Planter do the work for you. Create planting holes fast and efficiently with ease. No matter the soil type, it does the job effortlessly. Increase your root to soil contact. Leave the shovel and the spade in the shed. Hand welded and made in the USA. We offer a lifetime warranty on product defects. Find the size that fits your project at powerplanter.com. They now have DeWalt drills on their site. Power Planter is now a distributor of DeWalt drills and 3 different drills to meet whatever need you might have.
You got
the website will suggest what drill is recommended for what size auger.
You got a job, you got an auger, they got a drill to match that. You want to get a hold of us, you can do that in a variety of different ways. They revolve around the IV Organics 3-in-1 Plant Guard hotline.
IV Organics 3-in-1 Plant Guard naturally protects plants against damaging sunburn, insects, and rodents, protects newly installed plants and trees for use on your roses, fruit, and nut trees, ornamental trees, and shrubs. This product is non-toxic, environmentally safe, and organic. For more information, visit ivorganics.com. You can call us anytime during the show at 414-444-5250. You can send us an email through the IV Organics 3-in-1 Plant Guard email inbox. That address is twvgshow@gmail.com. You can also send us a text on the Instant Access IV Organic 3-in-1 Plant Guard Instant Access Text Hotline, and that is 414-368-9311. Again, that's 414-368-9311.
Always happy to get text and emails with your garden questions. We do want to make reference, we'll talk about this later on in the program. This is our 100th episode of the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show. Yeah? You've been here 99 and a half shows.
Yeah.
You were in a hospital for one, and you called in, and then you was on vacation with a friend on the other one. I've been here for all 100, keeping the show rolling.
So wouldn't that be 98 and a half? No, wait.
That'd be 99.
Okay.
I'll do the math. I'll do the math here.
Okay.
There we go. So we'll talk more about the accomplishment of that feat later on in the program. But first, we have business to attend to, as we always do each week, helping you with your garden problems and giving you advice on how your garden can grow better. And today, it's going to be how and what we can do with the apples and pears that we're getting from our tree, the farmer's market, or maybe we have a neighbor that allows us to pick up those that fall because they don't want to deal with it. So there's more things you can do with those than just make pies.
Right. That's correct. And is that what we do here? We attend to business?
We attend to business.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure. So you can
Apparently
them.
you didn't get the memo there.
No, I guess not. Yeah. I think that's when I was at one of those 1.5 shows I was not here.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Well, what are some things in which we can do with pears and apples? We'll focus on those two things because there are a lot of different options that you can utilize those fruits for.
So you can can your pears and apples. And actually, I have a coworker who has a pear tree, and he's always dropping off pears to us and stuff, too. So if you're lucky like that.
Back the truck up and bring it over to the house. Yeah, because our pear tree has all but died.
Yeah.
It went through a tremendous growth last year. Literally magnitude of thousands of pounds of pears that was snapping limbs off, and as went through a shock. We trimmed a bunch of limbs off, and there's one little chunk of tree still left living. We don't know if it will come back. It's a very old tree. It's been there for many years on the property. Nobody has an idea of the variety or of when that tree was planted. We do have many seedlings that have started from the droppings of those fruits over the years. So we do have a backup, dozens of backups, but we would like that tree to recover, but we have not hired an arborist to give us the professional information that may be required on taking the tree down or letting it regenerate and come back next spring. So, always good when you get free is the best word of a gardener. Free this, free that.
But
sure.
It's good to help local businesses and go pick your own too.
Yeah.
So you can can your pears and apples. You can create a light syrup to can them in. You can can them in your own juice. You can add cinnamon. People can them. They make like boozy canned pears or apples too. So
now, when we can them, is it a water bath or pressure can?
What is a water bath?
Okay, and that is, from your experience, the simpler of the two methods of preserving when it comes to canning. Correct?
I wouldn't use the word simple.
Easier.
I wouldn't use the word easier.
Okay, what term would you use there?
Maybe more basic.
More basic. Okay. You don't have to have a pressure canner. You can basically
It's probably cheaper because pressure canners can be a little bit costly.
And would you say it's safer?
No.
Nope. Okay.
Okay, so then you can make a pie.
Okay, we've talked about pie. Yeah, pies are a very easy thing.
You can make your own pie filling for future use.
And that's a water bath canning procedure as well.
Yep.
But that requires an ingredient that you have to buy online called clear gel. And explain what that particular item does or allows.
Clear gel is basically like a filler, kind of. What it does is a thickener. There we go. And it makes your pie filling have that nice, like, gooey...
What you would get out of a can that you bought from the store.
Like your own can.
That thick
like gooey.
liquid. Yeah, that gooey stuff.
Mm-hmm. So that's what clear gel does. It helps that happen. So that's something that you do have to purchase online, but it's worth it because you get really nice pie filling. And you can just open up, like, make a pie shell, whatever, crust, pie crust, that's the word. Yeah. And then you just dump your pie filling in there, put a crust on top or whatever you want on top.
In the oven it goes.
In the oven it goes, and you're like, yes, pie.
Now, it's a couple of things to be aware of for those who are looking to buy the clear gel product. One, buy what you need because it does have an expiration date on it. It does go bad. And two, you have to use that. People have done, what is the thickener in which some people use? People
use cornstarch, and if you can pie filling with cornstarch, like especially apple or pears, it looks like raw chicken in a jar. It looks really gross. Okay, and it gets all chunky. Clear gel is made to cook down and be smooth. Yep.
All right. What are some other options? We can dehydrate the pears and apples for snacks, or we can infuse them into teas later on in the year. You can dehydrate them, and you can freeze them, or you can put them in an airtight jar to keep the humidity from absorbing into those pieces of fruit. And then
do that.
The tea, tea, we can do that.
Pear chutney is good. So chutney is kind of like a salsa, but not. And people typically put it on meat, especially pear chutney or apple chutney. It has a nice sweet taste. So if you put it on like a pork or a salty,
it offsets the balance. It balances everything out. So but don't make that in quart jars. Half pint jars or jelly jars is more than enough quantity for that.
Juicing, you can juice the pears.
We've done apples, that.
Yep. You can make pear honey, apple honey. We did this, and it was like just like a sweet, almost like a syrup.
Yes, and you can for pears, you can make pear skin honey. With that, you can do that, and it's a lot of sugar, but it's a very close substitute to bee honey, but doesn't have obviously the properties that bee honey has. But there's recipes for that as well. Mm-hmm. Jellies and jams, we talked about that. That's an easy thing. Pear, apple, pear butter.
Wait a second.
Okay, all right. Back up here.
So there's fruit juice jelly.
Okay.
And a lot of people who have had apple jelly, it's like the same thing where it's really easy to make, and you can do this with any fruit juice you have.
Okay, this is different than normal jelly.
No, so jam is like when there's chunks of fruit, right?
Okay. And
jelly is when it's like smooth.
Okay.
Okay. So there's something called fruit juice jelly, and it's delicious if you make it with your pear juice or apple juice, because then you make that apple jelly. You can make it with all sorts of stuff. You can make fruit punch jelly or whatever. But
you're just pouring the juice in and making that's the base of the jelly.
Yep.
Okay.
So I would highly recommend that, especially if you have a lot of apples and pears and you juice them and then you make this jelly. Totally worth it.
Okay.
And then we have what were you on?
Pear, apple, and pear butter.
Right. So there's that. That's always delicious. People like that. Same thing with like applesauce, pear butter, apple butter. You cook that down a little bit longer to get that nice smoothness and concentration of flavor. And the best part about that is when you cook it down like that, you don't have to add sugar typically because of how it cooks down and caramelizes.
Now, in the pear, apple, pear butter, with those particular items, do we have to can them, or can we put them, how does the best way, can we just make a little batch and use it now, or how do we prolong that if we don't want to put it through a water bath canner procedure?
You can can it, you can freeze it.
Okay.
You can put it in the fridge, whatever.
Now, it's okay, just to clarify some things here, it's okay to make pear butter, and apple butter in the water bath canning procedure.
Yes.
However, pumpkin butter is not safe in any form of canning because it is a low acid, and it doesn't, you have to can, you have
There's
to
too much thickness.
Too much thickness. You have to pressure can pumpkin in chunks in order to get the safe canning procedure and the right temperature when you pressure can. So just want to put that out there. We tried. we made pumpkin butter one time and ate about a half of a jar until you found that information, and then we poured it all out because we found out it wasn't safe and neither one of us died, so it worked out okay. So with that being, what else can we do with these?
You can freeze them.
Freeze the pear and apple in chunks, or what do we?
You'd have to blanch them.
Okay.
Yeah, because otherwise they're going to get brown and weird.
Blanching is the procedure of putting them in a hot boiling water for a certain duration of time and then putting them in an ice bath.
It's not really ideal because it's just not ideal to freeze them.
The shelf life on a pear and apple is not extremely long, but you can get several weeks out of them. You can put them in the fridge, in the crisper. That'll get a little more longevity out of them. But if you're dealing with hundreds of pounds of pears or apples, there's not a whole lot of fridge room for that. And you want to figure out what you're going to do with them rather than let them go to waste.
Yep. And then one thing I didn't have on this list was our pear cider vinegar or homemade apple cider vinegar. A lot of people are onto this apple cider vinegar wellness kick, I guess. I don't know.
There are proven facts.
Yeah, it's really great for you.
We're not doctors, but you can find legitimate sites that show the benefits of using a certain amount of
I drink it every day.
Apple cider vinegar or pear cider vinegar. Yes.
Yeah. So it's not like a great treat. It's a little rough.
It works very well for me for heartburn.
It does work very well for heartburn.
I always pinch my nose because otherwise it will put you to your knees, but it cleans out your esophagus and you don't have that influx of stomach acids that come up in your esophagus as a heartburn would be.
Right.
It does work very well for that.
But you can make your own, and it's a fermentation process. It takes something like 2 months, something like that.
2 to 4 months based on your environmental conditions in your home, yes.
All together, and it's a nice way to use like the scraps of your pears or cores.
And you can also just use the pears themselves. If you got to me, you start chopping pears up. When we come back, it's going to be about getting your tomatoes ripen before the frost comes.
24/7, 365. The WisconsinVegetableGardener.com has all the gardening information you need, videos, digital magazines, replays of shows, and more.
The Norwalk juicer is the best cold-pressed juicer on the market. Studies have shown the Norwalk juicer produces 50 to 100% more juice than other juicers. And juice from the Norwalk is higher in minerals and nutritionally superior. Not only do you get more juice from your produce, but also better quality juice. Check it out at norwalkjuicers.com. Use coupon code GARDENTALK to get free continental U.S. shipping on the Model 290 juicer.
Never question your garden soil again. Know what's in your soil with confidence. Professional grade soil test for the home gardener. My Soil Savvy has the easiest soil test on the market. Ship it to them, get your report, emailed with nutrients recommendation, and grow happy, healthy plants. MySoilSavvy.com. Use coupon code TWVG19 and save 10% at checkout.
Wisconsin Greenhouse Company has custom-made greenhouses to suit your needs. Grow fruit and vegetables all year long. Strongest greenhouses available that will last a lifetime. Beautiful design available in any size and color. Weather resistant, energy efficient to save on that heating cost. Mix and match with glazings to suit your climate. Sturdy and durable, they'll hold up to those heavy snow loads. They'll even add them to homes. For agricultural to lodging to entertaining, it's a great addition to any garden or landscape. Check them out at WisconsinGreenhouseCompany.com. Store your tools right to get a long life out of them. This garden tip is sponsored by BioSafe. Organic solutions that are effective. They offer an array of eco-friendly products. From plant food to fertilizer to one-of-a-kind herbicides, organic weed killer. Grow stronger, healthier with BioSafe. Visit biosafe.net to learn more. And save 10% on your next order by using coupon code TWVG at checkout. Store your garden tools in a container filled with sand and lubricate them with an all-natural oil. The mixture of sand and vegetable oil will prevent them from rusting and keep your tools sharp.
Pharmaceuticals essential oils are high-grade, very pure, and high in quality. They have synergized blends made with the finest raw materials. For more information and to order, visit Dharmaceuticals.com.
Garden seeds do not have to cost a fortune, just 99 cents at migardener.com. Now with over 450 varieties of non-GMO, heirloom, and organic flower, vegetable, and herb seeds available year-round. Pay less and get more seeds. Shipping as low as $2.50. That just makes sense. Go to migardener.com for seeds and garden needs, tools, and special blend fertilizers. migardener.com. It's that simple. Family owned and operated. Shield and Seal vacuum sealers and the highest quality vacuum sealing products, unique black and clear and all black bags, protecting your produce and product better than traditional bags. Find out more at shieldandseal.com.
When it comes to bulk landscaping materials, Blue Mills Garden and Landscape Center is where everyone goes. Whatever the project, we have the materials you need with over 40 varieties to choose from. Soils, mulches, gravels, decorative stones, fresh cut sod. Blue Mills has these products in stock and ready for easy pickup or fast delivery. So what are you waiting for? Now is the time to get your yard back into shape. Stop in and pick these materials up or call us for delivery today. Nobody does bulk landscaping materials better than Blue Mills Garden and Landscape Center.
Blue Mills, 4930 West Loomis Road, 414-282-4220. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show is brought to you by the following: Ivy Organics, Power Planter, Root Assassin, Beans and Barley, BioSafe, Bobex, Pomona Universal Pectin, Pro Plugger, Standard Process, Tomato Snaps. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support.
Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Garden Radio Show with your hosts, Joey and Holly Baird.
Welcome back to the program. Welcome back to our 100th episode of the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show.
Dr. Earth is committed to clean and healthy gardening through creating cutting-edge, natural, and organic garden-friendly products based on research and innovation. After 28 years, they are the leader in the organic lawn and garden industry. They do not use ingredients such as biosolids or composted household waste or synthetic chemicals. Instead, they have manure-free fertilizer, organic soil insect control, and liquid fertilizers. If you want to grow the best quality food organically to feed your family, that is the founding principles of what Dr. Earth is all about. They have experts to find the most innovative ways to help you grow your best organically. Visit drearth.com for more information where to buy.
When frost is coming, we want to get as much out of our garden as we possibly can. And tomatoes, we'd much rather get a ripe tomato out of our garden than a green tomato and have to try to get it to ripen indoors and lose some of that intensity of the flavor. So we want to get them ripened before frost. And what can we and how can we do such?
So we had this happen more than once where it's like this frost is coming and we would remove our tomatoes from the stems, and then of course like 3 days later it was 65 degrees again. But if this does happen and you want to save your tomatoes, the first thing you want to do is remove all the greenish white fruit from the vine, so anything that looks mature enough. If you remove something that's a little bit too early, it's not going to change, it's going to stay green and it's not going to be very good. So you want to make sure that it's like close to being ripe type of situation.
The tomatoes ripen from the bottom of the fruit and ripen up around the shoulders or the top of the fruit. So whenever you begin to see a pigmentation change, then you can go ahead and harvest that tomato early. If you have issues with bugs or insects or animals or people taking them, you can set them inside for about 2 days and they will fully ripen. Now, if you're able to leave them on the vine until fully ripe, that is the best thing because then it pumps the most sugars into the fruit.
Right. So, however, if you I'm going to give you some suggestions of what to do with green tomatoes. If you don't have a lot of space to let them ripen, or you just want to use the green tomatoes.
Okay.
Yeah. But first, to get them ripe,
yeah,
what you're going to do...
About 30 days before the frost, if you've got a lot of green tomatoes, you want to stop watering if possible. I mean, when it rains, okay, fine. Also, you want to top the tomato plant off. Cut the growth tips off the top of the tomato to where it will stop growing vertically, and you'll begin to stress that plant out somewhat. You can also take, at the base of the plant, where the stem goes in the ground, take a shovel and go 6 inches off of that stem and chop down into the ground as far as the shovel will go. 3/4 of the way around that stem to cut 75% of the root structure out of that plant, to cut off the intake of nutrients, and that will also stress the plant out in order to stop producing fruit but ripen the fruit that's currently on the plant. So that's several things in which we can do. Obviously, if we see flowers, we can pinch those off, because flowers, based on the variety, take 20 to 30 days in order to ripen. So if we can pinch the flowers off and leave the fruit that's currently developing on the plant, that's even better.
Okay, so let's get to how you can ripen them before we run out of time here. So before frost, you want to pull off the more nicer looking, almost kind of ready-ish tomatoes from the vine, the white greenish ones. And then it's recommended to remove the stems and clean and dry the fruit, and that way when they are ripe, they're ready to use. And then it's also recommended to wrap them each individually in newspaper. We never did this, but you can do this. You can put them in newspaper and then lay them flat and put them in a cool, dry area. If you want to ripen them faster, you put them in like a sunny window.
If there's any blemishes on these fruits, do not wrap them in newspaper and stack them, because then you will have a very big mess, because it's just like apples. One apple ruins the bunch. It will infuse and begin rotting the other tomatoes.
Yep, so you can store them in a 60 to 65 degree Fahrenheit cool, dark location, or again, if you do want to ripen them faster, you put them like in a windowsill or near a window so that they get that sunlight. And then as this continues, you can inspect them frequently just to make sure, and then when they begin to color, you can remove the newspaper and place them at room temperature. Otherwise, you can leave the green fruit on the vine. You can pull the plants out entirely and hang it upside down, and then that way it'll ripen over time, and then you can just pick off the plant. You'd
want to hang it in an area where it's not going to freeze. Also, based on the variety, some varieties are more susceptible or more successful in ripening in that particular method of pulling the plant out and hanging it upside down. Some people find great success doing this in a somewhat of a climatized basement or a garage that's not going to freeze, and then they can harvest them. Now, again, it goes without saying, but I'll say it, you're not going to get that pop that you normally would with that springtime or early summer tomato, but you are going to get them to ripen in which you can utilize them much more effectively than a green tomato. Though some people look and thrive for those green tomatoes in order to utilize them in cooking applications.
Right, and there's a few things you can do with green tomatoes, and not just fried green tomatoes. There's actually a number of things that you can cook or prepare with them. You can bake green tomatoes as opposed to doing a fried green tomato method. And then you can also make green tomato relish, which sounds kind of good, a little bit different. So it's a kind of a play on relish, like we do zucchini relish. We've done Jerusalem artichoke relish. This would be an interesting relish to do. You can make green tomato pie, and apparently this is just like apple pie.
Has the same flavor, same texture.
Yeah.
Just don't tell people they're eating tomato pie.
You would, I don't know if you take the seeds out, and then you make a pie with it, and then you don't have like that gelatinous, but then it has the same texture as an apple pie.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if I would want to try it, but okay. And then there's the green tomato salsa, or the salsa verde, and green tomato and bacon soup. That sounded kind of good, almost like a sweet pepper soup, but instead green tomatoes.
Well, green tomato soup, bacon soup there, you add the bacon, I think, is what the key is there on that. Bacon
makes everything better?
For the most part, yes.
Yeah. And then there's green tomato bread. So this is kind of like zucchini bread, but then you're using the green tomatoes. And apparently it's really moist and delicious.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So that's some very unique ways in order to utilize the green tomatoes that you might have.
There's also green tomato parmesan instead of like an eggplant or chicken parmesan.
Okay.
And then you can pickle your green tomatoes.
Yeah, pickling, that's a familiar thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
And then,
pickling, you would just do that like in the refrigerator, or would you go through a water bath canning procedure, or can both be achieved in the pickling process?
you can do both.
Okay.
Refrigerator or water bath.
You
canning.
want to take the skins off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And that's with any tomato procedure. Take the skins off, otherwise you get rubber in. It's very unappealing. Yeah, to eat the skins when you're trying to consume something there.
Right. And then there's green tomatoes and goat cheese. So goat cheese is kind of tangy. Green tomatoes are kind of tangy. So I guess that's how that gets played out. So yeah, those are some green tomato recipes and ideas, especially if you're low on space. You don't have a lot of space and you're like, I have all these green tomatoes, what do I do with them? And those are some good ideas.
Well, another good ideal is that we get those ripe on the vine so we don't have to pick them green. But also, whether you're excited or not, summer is nearly over and fall's just about here. The kids are back in school and you've probably forgot about your yard. And that's not a good thing.
No, we don't want to forget about our yard. We don't want to forget about those Japanese beetles either. They may be gone, but they're not far away. Not only do they feast on your roses and berries this summer, they laid eggs in your turf so they can start again next year. Take a stand with Phylom's Grub Gone. Grub Gone is a non-chemical BT granule that specifically targets scarab pests and their larvae. Simply attach the granule with a spreader, irrigate it into the soil, and let the naturally occurring bacteria do its job.
Well, not only is Grub Gone easy to use, but it's the only non-chemical choice that effectively controls grubs. And my favorite part is it's non-toxic to bees and other pollinators and beneficial insects. So in fact, Grub Gone has no label restrictions for use around flowers, plants, so you do not have to get on your hands and knees and remove those dandelions before applying the product. Grub Gone from Phyllom BioProducts.com, the natural choice. That's PHYLLOM BioProducts.com. Do not go anywhere. When we come back,
we'll have author Rayna Andrews.
Plus, later on in the program, we'll talk more about our 100th episode. You're listening to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show.
Got a question? Email the show at twvgshow@gmail.com.
Power Planter is a family-owned earth auger manufacturer. The Power Planter earth auger will transform your garden experience. It helps homeowners and professionals complete almost any planting or digging project faster and more efficiently than using a shovel or a spade. Power Planter earth auger creates loose dirt when drilling holes, giving your plants better root-to-soil contact to help reduce plant loss for healthier, more beautiful trees, shrubs, flowers, vegetables, and grass. All of our augers are hand-welded and made in the USA, lifetime warranty. Find the size that fits your project at powerplanter.com.
Take the pain out of planting with the Pro Plugger 5-in-1 planting tool. Step, twist, pull, and you're ready to plant. Digs perfect size planting holes. Soil gets stored in the tube and empties from the top. Helpful for weeding. ProPlugger.com.
Do you have a problem with deer or small herbivores eating your vegetation? There is a natural solution that is safe for your pets and family. Bobex is the answer. An environmentally friendly solution to protect your plants, will not wash off, and is guaranteed. Bobex Deer was independently tested against 9 known competitors and rated 93% effective, second only to a physical barrier. Bobex can be used on all types of ornamentals, trees, and shrubs. Ask for it by name at your local independent garden center. Find out more, visit bobex.com. BOBBEX.com.
Spending time scrubbing pesky dirt off your hands after gardening? Use Workman's Friend Superior Skin Cream with added barrier protection, creating a protective layer on your skin surface, allowing for easy cleanup, all while moisturizing and healing your skin. Non-greasy, fragrant-free, and fast-absorbing. Apply first, get to work, wipe clean. This friend has you covered for whatever you're getting into. Visit workmansfriendbrand.com.
Beans and Barley Market and Cafe, a neighborhood specialty grocery store for the east side and greater Milwaukee area, where you can find all you need, from fresh produce to bakery to organic frozen dinners, from wine to fresh squeezed carrot juice, a health food store with hundreds of products, vitamins, supplements, bath and body items, magazines, cards, books, and a knowledgeable staff. Catering available, open daily at 8 a.m. The restaurant serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week with a menu of good, healthy, homemade food, including vegetarian and non-vegetarian specialties. 1901 East North Avenue, Milwaukee, 414-278-7878, and online at beansandbarley.com.
Do you want fresh produce delivered right to your neighborhood? Check out Tree Ripe Citrus Company. Find out where to pick up quality produce at tree-ripe.com. They have beautiful, tasty peaches and juicy, sweet blueberries. If you're tired of the non-taste peaches and the bad blueberries from your local grocer, Tree Ripe has what you need. They come right to a stop in your neighborhood, fresh off the truck, right from the source. To find locations and schedules, visit tree-ripe.com. They're in Iowa, Michigan, Minnesota, Illinois, and right here in Wisconsin. Tree-ripe.com is your go-to place for the freshest produce around. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show is brought to you by the following: Clyde's Vegetable Planting Chart, Dharmaceutical, Dr. Earth, Flame Engineering, Handy Safety Knife, Hydrobox, Wisconsin Greenhouse Company, M.I. Gardner, Outpost Natural Food Co-op, Rootmaker, Soil Diva, Blue Mills Landscape and Garden Center. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support.
As we approach fall, we have to think about that winter isn't too far away, unfortunately. You may want to finish some of those yard projects before it's too late. You can order landscape materials, bulk landscape, for delivery, or stop by and pick them up at Blue Mills Garden and Landscape Center. You can find all of this and more at 4930 West Loomis Road, just south of Layton. You can go to bluemills.com for more information or call 414-282-4220.
They have the largest bulk material available in the area with over 40 items to choose from. It's time to pick your pumpkin, and pumpkins are far more than just jack-o'-lanterns that you can carve. This Michigan Garden Moment is brought to you by migardener.com. With over 450 varieties of heirloom and organic flowers, vegetables, and herb seeds, all for 99 cents a pack. Find out more at migardener.com. Many people think pumpkins are just for jack-o'-lanterns, carving them during the fall festival season of the year. Well, that may be true, and there are varieties that are strictly grown for that key purpose. But there are also dozens of other varieties of pumpkins in which you can utilize for other aspects. Jack-o'-lantern pumpkins are not good for cooking as they are very stringy. Now, the seeds are edible and can be roasted. You can also take a jack-o'-lantern pumpkin and dehydrate it down and make pumpkin flour out of it, or pumpkin seed flour. There are other more desirable varieties such as Jardel, a grayish blue skin pumpkin with thick walls, large seeds, and makes excellent pies and other pumpkin dishes. So whenever it comes to picking a pumpkin, whether from your supermarket, your organic farm, or you've grown yourself, look at what other options you can do with it. Yes, carving them with kids or friends is a very enjoyable thing to do. But you can also utilize parts of that pumpkin that you may not have thought otherwise. Some recipes call for that gelatinous slime, or the guts you can actually make into candy. And as I spoke about, these seeds can be roasted. You want to clean these off and roast them, salt them as desired, and enjoy them, as it is a delicacy and only comes around once a year. This Michigan Garden Moment is brought to you by migardener.com. With over 450 varieties of heirloom and organic flowers, vegetables, and herb seeds, all for 99 cents a pack. Find out more at migardener.com.
Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Garden Radio Show with your hosts, Joey and Holly Baird.
Holly, we don't have to go to the Ivy Organics Train on Plant Garden Hotline because our guest is right next to you in the studio.
Yeah, that's exciting. Rayna Andrews is a local author and activist here in Milwaukee. She's focused on solving health disparities by teaching young people about the connection between their health, food, and community. Andrews has authored a new children's book on the subject, which is Alex McGreen and the Tale of the Mysterious Kale. Welcome to the program, Rayna.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, we appreciate you taking time to join us in the studio and to talk about not only what you do to help fight hunger, but also the book in which you've authored.
Mm-hmm. So you consider yourself an activist, and sometimes many people feel that could be a negative title. What does being an activist mean to you?
Well, oftentimes, I think the usual status quo or the what's synonymous with activism is people marching in lines, carrying signs, but activism is really taking a stand for social change. And I think what's happening in our food system is a public health concern and deserves true activism.
Well, many people, or you go to a public school, where does corn come from? Aisle 9 at the grocery store. That's the answer in which you get a lot of times. With our niece and nephew, whenever we ask, they're like, can we go to, which they see us grow the product, they see us harvest it, they help us harvest the product. They know where fruit comes from, unlike many people in our society. So it's very important in order to get the word out, because 20 years ago, we knew where food comes from, or even 30 years ago, but now we've got such a, I don't want to say closed society, but it's very uninformed of where this education needs to be delivered to.
Absolutely. I would say in the last 50 years, really in the last 10 years, we've seen a huge shift with the source of our food. And when I founded the Healthy Food Movement, it wasn't on the notion of getting just healthier and safe food. It's having people know where the source of their food is. Mm-hmm. And when I say healthy food, I mean whole foods. Seeing what a tomato actually looks like, knowing where a pineapple actually comes from. And so what we find more and more is that our food comes in plastic bags and cardboard boxes, and the latest crave is this Impossible Burger, which is still a highly processed product. And so what I try and do is get children and their parents to realize the source of their food, to have a more intimate connection with their food, so that they treat food more as medicine rather than as something really good to eat and to eat all the time and overconsume.
Now you're talking about the overprocessed vegan burger? Is that what you're... And then
yes.
There's a chicken place that has now vegan chicken.
Yes.
Why can we not just eat lettuce and tomatoes? Why do we have to process it down into something that looks like meat if you're anti-meat?
That's exactly it. And so here we are eating vegetables, and we have to mock it up to make it look like meat, yet we dress up meat with all these seasoning and spices to make it more like vegetables. And so...
Pick a team and stick with it. Let's
exactly.
So why is it so important? I know you touched on that with the knowing where the food is coming from, but why is it so important to you, that connection between the health and food and their community?
I truly believe that food is medicine. There's so much scientific evidence to prove that a lot of our health disparities, from diabetes, hypertension, obesity, all come from the food that we eat. Even mental health. I mean, when you eat a lot of really processed, refined sugar, it messes with your brain, and
this
you
is
can't focus.
scientifically proven. This is not just something that you've come up. Yes,
and also the quality of our food. There's been evidence to show that's connected to violence in our community. And so when we can control our food, when we can control our appetite and what goes into our body, which are whole foods, I think we'll have a much greater outcome for our entire community.
Well, if you look at studies, and people can go on the internet, it's a wonderful tool, and go back before World War II, before a lot of the processed foods. There was the diseases in which humans had is totally different, or less of what we currently have now in the last 30 to 40 years. The numbers of this or that has increased, and what also has increased, the amount of processed foods that are in our everyday lives.
Absolutely. In the last 15 years, the number of obese Americans has increased by over 30%. Which is amazing. And when you have people who are obese and overweight, it leads to so many other preventable diseases.
Okay, why is hunger such an important issue?
Why hunger is such an important issue is that in our country, there are over 57 billion tons of food that go to waste each year. And that's alarming, because there are 42 million Americans that don't know where their next meal is going to come from. By the United States Department of Agriculture definition, that would be food insecure, which means they don't know where their next meal is going to come from. They couldn't access their food within the last 12 months, or they couldn't afford the food that they accessed in the last 12 months. Why that's so important is that in the land of abundance, we have so much food that we produce in America, yet we have so many people that go hungry. And that delta, that huge gap, is solvable. We can close that gap. So, for example, in Wisconsin, we have more than 700,000 Wisconsinites that don't know where their next meal is going to come from. However, there's 1.1 billion pounds of food that goes to waste. The greatest culprits are individual consumers like you and I. 33% of our household goods in food products end up going to the landfill. So if we can make a reduction by at least 15%, we can effectively close the meal gap here in Wisconsin.
And you make that very, very clear. We go to the grocery store, we buy our product, we might as well throw 33% right in the trash before we even get in the house, because that's where it ends up. We're just as guilty as the next person, but we see that. And and correct me if I'm wrong, about 1 out of every 4 kids go to bed hungry, or is that a little high, or is that where we're at?
So new evidence has come out to show that it's now 1 in 5.
Okay.
That's still very high, right? That's like one of us in this room would be food insecure. Yes.
And there's a lot, and a lot of things in life revolve around money, and the farmers will make a product, and then we're not getting a good price. We're going to dump it before it even goes to the shelves. We'll call it a loss, get a tax write-off or whatever they do financially, and then they grow another crop. It doesn't even make it off the farm sometimes because it doesn't have the value in which the farmer needs in order to get to the grocery store. And the short shelf life of some of these products we see at the farmer's market because the grocery store cannot handle a 24-hour lifespan. That's it. For example, lemon cucumbers, very, very short shelf life. You only see it at a farmer's market. You don't see it at a grocery store because it doesn't have the longevity of it. So that's a thing that we all can be better at.
I would like to add to that, like when you say lemon cucumber, there are a lot of foods. That's why I think food literacy is the biggest piece out of the entire food movements that are happening right now, that you have a lot of the food conservationists or the food waste folks. And then you have the food access people, but food literacy on where your food comes from, the source of it, how to prepare it, the medicinal purposes behind it, I think that's missing from the conversation.
Absolutely. That's totally what it is. Now, we have listeners in other stations and across the country and around the world, but we're going to focus this question on Milwaukee because that's where you're from. What can we do to help people locally in our community and even here in Milwaukee?
What can we do specifically in what space?
In getting the information out, teaching people, and trying to not waste as much as the study shows that we waste on a daily or yearly basis.
I think everybody can have their own healthy food movement by taking on social responsibility. So if you're a single person or even a family
use that word
of 4,
responsibility.
Yes,
that's the important word.
We all have a personal responsibility. And the reason why I say food insecurity is a public health concern is that we often in society, the current narrative is it's them versus us. It's like they need to do something.
It's never us. It's never
right.
Yeah.
Right. It's never the collective. But from a public health lens, it has to be all of us taking responsibility to make this shift. So as individuals, either, like I said before, a single person or a family of 4, we have to look at how much food we're consuming. Like if I'm a single person, I don't need a sack of onions or a sack of potatoes. I think there can be a whole movement where community, just as we share cars like Uber or Lyft, we can share kitchens and share groceries where together as communities we come together and divide up our grocery bill. We can also look at what we're consuming as human beings and pay attention to our bodies so that we're not overeating in that space. We can also look at legislation and become advocates for policy where right now there's policy out there, or it's not a policy, but there is legislation that it's called, there's a policy on the floor right now that encourages farmers to do additional gleaning where it's called Harvest for Hope, where it's $250,000 that a food bank or food network would put in and the state would put in $250,000. So you have a $500,000 coffer that would encourage farmers to glean the excess food rather than burning it or allowing wild animals to graze the excess food. That excess food will then go into the food bank and allow it to be distributed to our food pantries, hot meal programs, and shelters. Initiatives like that is something that we all can advocate for. It's something that we all can get behind, and those are things that we can move forward on our individual basis. One thing that I like to do with my family is to cook in the kitchen with our entire family, because I think the younger you teach children and the more connected they are to the source of their food, the more connected that they'll be and the more they can appreciate where their food comes from.
Makes a lot of sense there whenever we can take steps in our own lives, and then and people, and you said, we don't need a whole bag of onions, and people are like, oh, it's cheaper to buy by the bulk. Well, if it's just going to go to waste, what's the point of saving a nickel per onion when it comes down to it?
Right. I think as Americans, we've become extremely wasteful. Being here in the land of abundance, I think one of our greatest issues is that we have so much. We like to complain about not having enough. That wasting.
I'm never good enough as the next person down the road.
But here's the kicker. But yet we will bring in coupons and want you to double and triple match it, okay?
Exactly. Now, just switching gears here, I want to touch on your book. Your book, Alex McGreen and the Tale of the Mysterious Kale. What is it about, and what was your reasoning for writing it?
So the little voice that you hear in the back of me is my son, Julian. He's now 2. And when I was pregnant, this was around mid-2017, earlier on in the year, when we had the big lead crisis in Milwaukee. We still do. We always have. It just became really public, right? And so what I know about food is when you eat dark leafy vegetables, it helps draw out a lot of the toxins in our bodies from the mercury and the iron and et cetera. And so I was going to community health fairs and bringing a bunch of dark leafy vegetables, peppers, cucumbers, et cetera. And many of our seniors and adults did not want to eat any of the food that I brought. If it wasn't apples, if it wasn't onions, if it wasn't food that they were used to. And so I said, you know what? It's like I'd be better off pouring motor oil down their throat than getting them to eat this healthier food. And so I said, but you know what? I saw that the kids were really interested. And what's this? What's that? Where they pick up the cabbage, they'll start pulling back the leaves, and they look at it more of as a discovery, as a science project. And so I wrote the whimsical tale of Alex McGreen, the Tale of the Mysterious Kale, which is about a 10-year-old girl who saves her 5th grade science class with kale, because I saw that if I can get young people interested in where their food comes from and growing their own food and having a connection with their food, that they would then consume it. And I was right. And so I've spoken in front of thousands of young people, from school assemblies to libraries to Boys and Girls Club to food pantries and hot meal programs. And when I read this book, I always try and do a cooking demonstration, either making kale cookies, kale chips, kale smoothies. And they go kale crazy because I give them the recipe and I supervise as they actually cut the kale, as they tear the kale, as they dig into the coconut, as they slice open the mango. And we do an exercise on where does your food come from? So they either have to raise their hands up to tell me if it grows in the tree, squat down if it grows in the bush, and touch the ground if it's a root vegetable. And so I think it's a great exercise, and I even have the adults in the room do it, and it's amazing to see how many adults don't know where pineapples come from.
People think they come from trees, but they actually come from a bush, kind of like a zucchini.
Yes.
Now, whenever you do this, do you find that the kids begin to want to eat that, and then they change the outlook for the parents, and the parents start adapting to what the dietary requirements or the wants of that child are?
Yes, amazingly, the children in the homes become the peer advocates. And so many children have never tried kale. I mean, plenty of adults haven't, right? And so when we peel the kale off the rib of the piece of kale, the children will eat it reluctantly, and I think it's a new cool thing, like, this is good. I said, well, what does it taste like? Grass. I'm like, do you like eating grass? Now I do. And they say, I even like it better. I even like it better in this smoothie. I said, do you like pineapples? Yeah. Do you like mangoes? Yeah. Do you like coconut? Yeah. And so I have recipe cards, and I'll share it with you if you want to share it with your viewers. But they take it home and ask their parents to bring these, to make these, to buy these ingredients and to make the smoothies at home. And so I look at young people being ambassadors in their own home.
That's impressive, and we've seen this from other people in the gardening world, where they teach the kids and the kids teach the parents, and then that's how that snowball gets larger and larger as the whole family and then the community gets involved because of one kid pushing the narrative. Here's what we need to do, because one, it's healthy, and two, realistically, it'll keep you alive longer
exactly.
when it comes to it. Where can we find more about you? Where can we find your book at? Where can we go?
So you can find my book at thehealthyfoodmovement.com, just HEALTHY, foodmovement.com. You can also find me on Amazon. Follow me on Healthy Food Movement on Instagram, Facebook, and it's just Health Food Movement on Twitter.
There you go. Well, we greatly appreciate you taking time and joining us not only on the program but in studio and sharing stories about food and the food that we need to stop wasting and eating healthy.
Yes, thank you.
And when we come back, it'll be all about your garden questions, but also we'll talk more about how we got to the 100th show of the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
If you have a gardening question, now is the time to call in on the ivorganics.com 3-in-1 Plant Guard hotline at 414-444-5250.
The Handy Safety Knife is a patented high-quality knife that's worn like a ring, so it's always conveniently at hand and very easy and efficient to work with. That's why you'll find the handy safety knife at work in a wide range of industries and applications. Learn more at handysafetyknife.com.
Use coupon code WVG to get 10% off and free shipping, one-time use only at handysafetyknife.com.
Pomona's Universal Pectin is high-quality pectin that gels reliably with low amounts of any sweetener. If you're trying to reduce the amount of sugar in your diet, you'll love Pomona's Universal Pectin. Now you can make healthy homemade jams and jellies sweetened to your taste. You can use sugar, honey, or any alternative sweetener you'd like. Pomona's Universal Pectin keeps indefinitely when stored in an airtight container. Easy to use, versatile, and comes with directions and recipes in every box. Find out more and where to buy at PomonaPectin.com. Available at most natural food stores and online.
Do you seek safe, effective nutrition solutions to boost your health and quality of life? Standard Process is your trusted whole food supplement manufacturer with 90 years of expertise. Our third-generation family-owned company proudly grows nutrient-rich ingredients at our certified organic farm in Palmyra, Wisconsin, enabling us to produce high-quality whole food solutions that change lives. For help identifying the best supplements for you, find a local healthcare professional today at standardprocess.com/patients.
The number one key to healthy, productive plants are the roots. Starting from seed to full-grown plants, rootmaker.com has the answer. From seed starting trays with an innovative design that air prunes the roots, creating a fabulous root system, never again will you have root-bound plants, to multiple gallon grow bag sizes to raised beds. Rootmaker.com has your grow needs covered. Visit rootmaker.com. Flame Engineering, home of the Weed Dragon, the perfect propane torch kit for home and garden use. For killing weeds, no need to pull or spray. 100 other uses. Find out more at flameengineering.com. Use coupon code WVG19 to get free shipping.
Here at Outpost Natural Foods, it's not just that we're community-owned that sets us apart. It's the fabulous foods we sell. We celebrate Earth Day every day by offering our customers the finest natural and organic food selections in Greater Milwaukee. Outpost local farmers and vendors provide our stores with a delicious selection of fresh seasonal produce that you won't want to miss. Outpost stores are located in Milwaukee, Wauwatosa, Bayview, and Mequon. We're a real Milwaukee original where anyone can shop and anyone can join. For the whole scoop about Outpost, we invite you to visit www.outpost.coop.
Blue Mel's Garden and Landscape Center offers an awesome selection of high-quality garden and landscape products. We have just the plants you're looking for: annuals, perennials, veggies, herbs, and more. Plus, you can always count on us to answer all of your questions and offer expert advice. Blue Mel's also carries the largest selection of bulk landscape materials in the area. Enjoy a beverage from our coffee shop while your kids run around in our huge playground. Join our growing list of highly satisfied customers. Visit the garden center that offers everything you're looking for. Visit Blue Mel's today.
Blue Mel's, 4930 West Loomis Road, 414-282-4220.
The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show is brought to you by the following: Eco Garden Systems, Row Maker, Shield and Seal, World's Coolest Rain Gauge, Big Fats Hot Sauce, Chapin International, Drip Garden, Norwalk Juicers, Nunu Healing Ointment, Phyllom BioProducts, Soil Savvy, Tree Ripe. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support.
Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Garden Radio Show with your hosts, Joey and Holly Baird.
IV Organics 3-in-1 Plant Guard naturally protects plants against damaging sunburn, insects, and rodents, protects newly installed plants and trees, shields, prune, and damaged surfaces for use on your roses, fruit, and nut trees, ornamental trees, and shrubs. This product is non-toxic, environmentally safe. An email through IV Organics 3-in-1 Plant Guard. Email inbox and the address is twvgshow@gmail.com, or you can send us a text on Instant Access IV Organic 3-in-1 Plant Guard Instant Access text hotline, and that number is 414-368-9311. 414-368-9311.
You can text us anytime, day or night with that. Well, we'll get in the garden questions here in a moment, but we're at the 100th show of the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show, and we figured out it was 98 and a half shows in which you had participated. Holly.
I was right.
You were right.
Oh, said it.
So, how did we get to this point? Well, a lot of due diligence, a lot of work.
Let me give you the quick version.
Yes.
So essentially, the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener started as a Facebook page in 2009.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Then we gave information to gardeners in the Midwest. Then fast forward to 2 years later, I won a video camera at my place of work, and you're like, what are we going to do? I'm like, we're going to make gardening videos, and that's what we did. So we did that for many years. In 2015, we had a podcast at one point, I think in 2014, 2015. And in 2015, we said we're going to get a radio show. So we reached out to WNOV, and they told us the cost. We tried to secure funding, and we crashed and burned. But we didn't let that stop us. So in 2016, we secured funding, and 2017, which was our first season.
And the way the show works, like you said, we find the funding from the sponsors. We reached out to hundreds and hundreds, and now we're up to thousands of companies nationwide and local saying, here's what we do. You want to sponsor the show. You want to pay for the airtime. We pay for the airtime in all the markets. Some stations, some studios, some radio hosts in the gardening world, they go in, they do their little show, the station gives them a little check and says, okay, we'll see you next week, and they do nothing. And they have no control over the show either.
Right.
We have complete control over every aspect of this show. And because you, the listener, you support us by listening to the program, and you're intelligent enough that we don't have to beg you, please buy this product from this company. We have to buy, please buy. We don't do that. You make the decision whether or not you want to purchase products or visit establishments to support their businesses. And some sponsors have tried and found that this wasn't the avenue in which they wanted to advertise, and others have stayed with us for multiple years. We've never begged you to buy anything from any of our sponsors. We will reference the companies in a conversation or a question that is answered, what we would suggest. But we're not that kind of radio show, and there's plenty of those on the radio. Please buy this. Please buy this. You got to go buy this.
Right.
We don't do that because that takes our responsibility is to give you the information, provide you what will work best for your garden, your kitchen, and you can make the educated decision whether or not you want to buy a product from a specific company that supports us.
Right, and we really just appreciate all of you who have found us, followed us. If you followed us with our videos or our Facebook page, we are forever grateful for you.
And Lord willing, and He's blessed us with 3 years, we would be, if things go well, we'll be back next year for Season 4 of the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show. That being said, let's get to some of your garden questions now. I would like to save the pumpkin seeds and regrow them next year, but I have heard that there could be a possibility of them being cross-pollinated with other crops in which I'm growing. Is there any truth to this? Well, there sort of is and there sort of isn't, and I will explain. Many people think that varieties of crops that have similar flowering and pollinating patterns can be cross-pollinated. And gardeners may assume that a squash, a melon, and a cucumber can be cross-pollinated. Fortunately, this is not true. Now, what is true is the female flowers can only be fertilized by the pollen from male flowers of the same species. So, if you have a pumpkin, a summer squash, a winter squash, and a gourd, those are all part of the same family. And those could be potentially cross-pollinating with each other if you're intending to save seeds in your garden. We've heard the stories of a zucchini that's crossed with a pumpkin. It's a very unique crop in which you grow the next year. Now, if you're strictly growing the crops this year and have no intentions of saving the seeds, no worries. Plant everything as close as you want. You don't have to worry about any cross-pollination. It's not going to affect the production of that particular fruit or vegetable this year. It's when you save those seeds that you could get that cross. We've got some crosses with some spaghetti squash that has crossed with a pumpkin. And instead of spaghetti squash, after you bake it, it doesn't string out of the carcass. That it's very chunky and pumpkin-like consistency. So it's been crossed somewhere down through the generations. So you want to be careful about that. Cucumbers are the same way. Cucumbers are so highly pollinatable that there's no safe way of saving cucumbers if you're growing multiple species like we do. We grow about almost 2 dozen. So very easily could a market more be crossed with a white cucumber, could be crossed with a pickling cucumber, that type of thing. So you can save your pumpkin seeds. You can plant some, but I would recommend buying the same variety again just to make sure you have a clean, specific type of pumpkin that you know will grow into a pumpkin. If you're only growing that particular pumpkin in your garden and there's nothing else there, the likelihood of pollen coming from somewhere else in the neighborhood, almost 0 to nothing. So save the pumpkin seeds, roast them, eat them, save some, plant some, but also remember what you planted and buy that variety again next year.
Before we get into what's coming up next week on the program, Holly, remind them about the executive sponsor.
The executive sponsor of the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show is Power Planter. Planting conditions are always favorable with the Power Planter Earth Auger. No matter what the job is, Power Planter has the right size for you. Simply attach to a drill and let the Power Planter do the work for you. Create planting holes fast and efficiently with ease. No matter the soil type, it does the job effortlessly. Increase your root to soil contact. Leave the shovel and spade in the shed. Hand-welded and made in the USA, we offer a lifetime warranty on product defects. Find the size that fits your project at powerplanter.com.
Coming up next week on the program, do not miss it. Always tell your friends and family to tune in. That's how we grow and learn together. We're going to be talking about growing indoors over winter and what you need to know to make it a success, as well as fall tree care tips. Author and flower expert Chris McHuglin will be with us. Plus, we'll talk about fiber farming. All that and more. Tune in. Do not miss the program. Miss any portion of this program or want to revisit it in its entirety or past programs, there's a couple of ways in which you can do that. You can go to your favorite podcast-providing website and search the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show or Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener podcast. You can find it there. Or you can go to our website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, and click on the radio tab or the highlight tab on the main page to catch all past episodes of this program and segments of each program that we do. Until next week, for Holly Baird, I'm Joy Baird, and we will see you in the garden.
You have been listening to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show. Tell a friend and join Joy and Holly again next week so we can all grow together. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show is a production of the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com in association with WI Garden Media Broadcast live from the WNOV 860 AM and the W293CX 106.5 FM. Courier Communication Studios in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.